there's 10 people watching.
It's live now.
No, it's going to be all over it. Well, we could share it to Barnoldswick Square page.
13.
Brian said we're watching John and Kate today. We should go there.
It's not quite gone 1:30, so just hang about for 30 seconds.
Well, Emma's wanting to email all bands now to.
They want a good chat, we want them.
You don't need to email us.
I thought you
I
know.
gave them a heads up, but I said it would be officially confirmed tonight and I'd let them know.
Alright.
But
Okay. It has gone 7:30, so I'll begin this extraordinary meeting of the full council. It was called tonight in the extraordinary circumstances of the COVID-19 outbreak and government guidance to not hold any large gatherings and social distancing. So that's the reasoning. We'll move straight on to item 1, apologies for absence.
Marjorie Adams, Lindsay Gaskell, Jodie Hoyer, Jane Mills.
Thank you. Item 3, declarations of interest. Item 3, open forum. Now, there is no members of the public present here today, but there is a live chat and viewers at home. If you post something in the live chat, we can pick it up after the meeting. But for the time being, let's move on to item 4, to discuss and agree the council response to the current COVID-19 outbreak in the UK. So,
alright. There are things that we need to
okay.
make a, don't know which one you want to take
So,
first.
we've got a list of things that the town council owns and is in charge of. So we'll go through in order, make a decision, as well as any other measures we think is appropriate. Let's go in order.
Sorry, this is not a problem. We saw them in.
I repeat, not a COVID case.
I'd swallowed some of my own.
So the first thing we should talk about is the toilets. We've got public toilets. What's people's thoughts on keeping them open or closing them? David?
Well, Chairman, Joe and I and yourself have discussed this. I'm not sure we've got a consensus. My view is the public toilets ought to be left open in order for people to be able to wash their hands if they are around. But I know there are contrary views.
I think if we leave them open, we need to have more frequent cleaning.
Right,
We've got to be cleaning properly, thoroughly, quite regularly.
Okay.
do you want to keep all of them open?
They've all got hand washing facilities. So.
No, they haven't.
Which ones?
Okay.
Okay.
I would support keeping them all open. It's a vital resource for members of the public. And it's also an aid to particularly the town centre ones, where shops and the rest of it are going to be struggling to survive this phase of coronavirus. And I think that we should be doing everything we can to make sure that the public goes about their shopping as normal as is possible in the time. If you've got young children, all of whom are going to be off school from Friday, I think it is a resource that we ought to be concentrating on. There are few enough of them as it is in Pendle. If there is a way of keeping them open, I would support David to keep them open.
So will the council authorise the extra spending and for the extra cleaning?
I don't think we've got a choice.
No, that's I need you to. I need you to.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone's in agreement. We increase the cleaning schedule and keep them on.
Chris wants to be.
Voted.
No, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, schedule and keep all open.
Okay. The second item.
As long as no one pinches the toilet roll.
They are in locked boxes, aren't they?
Use that tracing paper stuff, nobody will make
I
that.
haven't got that. Right, so that's that one.
Yeah.
Market.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's unlikely traders are going to turn out anyway.
They are. They want to.
They want to, right? David?
Chairman, shops are operating, markets outdoors, less risk, more distance. I think as long as whatever mitigation we can put in is implemented, for the time being it ought to operate. As long as we've got the wherewithal to operate it.
For as long as shops are open, I think we keep the market running.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as shops are open.
So our food shops, after all, that we need
I know.
everywhere we have at the moment.
The Asian, the Farrow's coming tomorrow, so she'll put some sauces if anyone wants them.
Do you want to fill your freezer?
No, you can't panic buy.
I don't think it classes as panic buying for a market.
But we should mention that Farrow's samosas are absolutely brilliant. And you couldn't go far wrong if you put a few in your freezer.
Just don't buy thousands.
Don't buy the whole store.
Yeah.
Don't stockpile.
Dispensation councillors.
Councillor Whip.
Chairman, we don't know how long the epidemic's going to last and how long we're in emergency measures. The normal course of events is that if members of the council don't attend a meeting for 6 months, then they're automatically disqualified unless they have a dispensation not to attend meetings through whatever the circumstances are. If we're in a position, I think we're taking these in a bit of a funny order actually.
Sorry.
If we're in a position not to be able to have meetings, then clearly, firstly, people can't attend, but secondly, there's no mechanism to give people a dispensation not to attend for 6 months. So I don't know whether it's legal or not, and perhaps the government will legislate, but I should think it's the last thing on their minds. However, I wonder if we could pass a resolution giving a general dispensation in the view of the COVID-19 virus epidemic, that in the event that members of the council don't attend meetings for a period of 6 months, they have a dispensation through till the end of the epidemic, whenever that might be.
Yes. There is also the fact, if it came that so many were absent, of course we are postponing elections as well. So
Yeah.
I know it's only extremely unlikely that there would be enough.
Events.
Ken?
Business continuity.
I'm being a bit of the devil's advocate here, but I'm a little bit worried about the statement until the end of the epidemic. If herd mentality doesn't apply, in this case, and if the virus turns out to be capable of reacquiring, and there's no real evidence yet to suggest that having once experienced it, you develop an immunity to it. This epidemic could last for years, seriously, because whatever time we come out of lockdown and we all start to mingle again, it could all just start again, for all we know medically at the moment. Most of the wording that I've heard from Public Health England and or any of the press conferences suggests that we're looking at a potential period of maybe 18 months. And rather than just saying the end of the epidemic, I'd like to see some kind of time frame that says it will be reviewed.
If we said until
Whatever.
the next town council meeting, and we can renew that every meeting then, because it might be the case that we don't meet for a period of 8 months.
Yes, but
And then when we meet again, that may mark the end of it, or we may be waiting another 8 months after that. I mean, we should renew.
what I'm saying is that I think that we ought to put a time limit of a year on it and say, look, let's review it annually or whatever.
To be reviewed.
It's just a feeling that it's a little bit vague as the end of the epidemic when we really have no knowledge of how this thing is going to pan out. It could end up being indefinite.
Right, so general dispensation of the COVID-19 situation. Dispensation to the end of the epidemic, but to be reviewed March 2021 if it hasn't ended. Yeah? I'll make it.
Well, you
I'll
may
tidy
not
it
hold
up.
a meeting in March. Can we just say reviewed after 12 months?
That is
That is
12 months. That is 12 months.
Yeah, I know it's 12 months.
Just gives us a bit of flex if we don't hit the calendar month.
Oh, that's
That's what you mean, isn't it? Yeah.
In 12 months.
Okay, so the next item we need to consider is business continuity. So obviously, if we can't meet, we can't agree actions, and the clerk needs authority to carry out actions over a certain threshold. And we've got, should we pass those around?
Yeah, this is some. This has come from national.
I'll read this out. In response to the COVID-19 outbreak in the UK, and in the event that it is not possible to convene a meeting of the Council in a reasonable time, the Clerk shall have delegated authority to make decisions on behalf of the Council where such decision cannot reasonably be deferred and must be made in order to comply with a commercial or statutory deadline. This will be carried out where possible by consultation with members by electronic means or telephone. The Clerk will further consult with the Chairman for guidance as necessary. The delegation does not extend to matters expressly reserved to the Council in legislation or in its standing orders or financial regulations. Any decision made under this delegation must be recorded in writing and must be published in accordance with the relevant regulations. This delegated authority ceases upon the first meeting of the Council after the Council meeting at which the delegation was put in place.
Yeah, this one's all in addition to it.
And in addition to that, just the second paragraph. Yeah.
They are the 3 suppliers.
In respect of, in addition to that, we should also add this. In respect of financial regulation 10.3, it is accepted that in these unprecedented circumstances, there may be insufficient suppliers available to obtain 3 or more quotations for a specific transaction. Therefore, provided that at least 3 suppliers have been approached to quote, an order may be placed on best value terms available at the time without the requirement for 3 or more responses.
Just what that means?
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I suppose that we just accept that as you read out with the addition.
Okay.
I think it's sensible.
All those in favour?
Is there anything anyone else can think of?
Chairman, in terms of business continuity, we should, I think, appoint an acting deputy clerk from a Midtown number. This is an unpaid position, but in the event of the clerk being incapacitated, then it gives us some resilience in terms of having someone who is in a position to assume the duties of the clerk and take over the reins if necessary. So,
To be a council member.
It really should. Yeah, it should
so
be.
a council member, I mean, it's just in case. The clerk has already suggested somebody who could undertake that position.
Tom.
Kevin?
Well, although it wasn't a virus incident, we have been in the situation before where, through no fault of the council, we have found ourselves clerkless at the drop of a hat, whether there have been emergency situations, and we have in the past retrospectively agreed a temporary clerkship, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. We have seen it before here in Barnoldswick. Yeah, I don't see any problem there. I think that, from my mind, I think there are two potential candidates, one of whom who has done it before, and that's Councillor Marjorie Evans.
The issue is if she's in self-isolation, it will be difficult to do.
Well, that's true. I'm not suggesting that we argue the point. I'm just saying that there are qualified people on council who could do that. I have no problem. It might be prudent in this instance to agree that Tom is the least likely among us to. The thing that worries me is that if he's going to take point on it, and almost every other thing that involves exposure to potential risk, then we're putting Tom himself in a very risky, dangerous situation.
But I am the lowest risk.
Oh yeah, I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that at all. But if you're going to be taking the lowest risk option every day by going along to meetings of various levels of councils, case there are, whatever will be, will be.
Obviously, if Tom's happy to do it, then I'm happy for Tom to do it.
Yeah.
That's just something that,
There is one issue that if I did become acting clerk,
Who are you going to confer with?
who am I going to confer with, because it would be myself as chairman. So we'd need to have the deputy chairman as the consultee, and the wording of what we've just agreed to be altered in that case scenario.
works for me.
Just a technicality. So I think we have a proposer and seconder.
Yeah.
All those in favour? Or abstain?
Chairman, that leads me on to provisions for meetings. I mean, in the resolution that we've just passed, it says that consultation with members by electronic means or telephone, but I wonder whether it's possible for us to set up a facility for either video conferencing or something of that nature, and then we could have virtual meetings. So, I mean, I'm envisaging that this will be the last physical meeting that we'll have for a while. Yeah, so, but specifically, if we're going to set something up, like I know Cobham Town Council, all their town councillors on Microsoft Office, and they're doing Microsoft Teams. Chairman, I think you've suggested a free offer that we could do the same thing. So I just think we need to explore that and get something in place. And it may be that the legislation, the emergency legislation that's going through Parliament will actually make such virtual meetings lawful for the period that we're facing.
Councillor Hartley?
Well,
That's fine with me. Office 365. So, I'm equipped already if you want to.
There's Microsoft Teams.
Yeah.
Or other.
That did crash earlier today.
Crashed earlier today, yesterday, when everyone went to work from home. So bad.
But there's three options: Skype, Discord,
Yeah.
even Facebook, WhatsApp.
Yeah, we can work it.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're all in agreement there. Is there any other? Or,
Chairman, the bank mandate, we've got a limited number of members on the mandate, and one of those is currently self-isolated. The other, well, all three people currently on the mandate are all high risk, vulnerable categories. So therefore it would seem sensible to me, before we lose all those signatories for the bank account, that we extend the mandate to include further members of the council. I don't know who we have that's able to go to Nelson and visit the bank and prove that they are who they say they are, give them a blood sample and a DNA sample and all that sort of stuff.
I'm off Thursday, Friday, so I can do that. That's not a problem.
me and Councillor Whittingham have already.
Okay, no, you haven't, because you can't do it until we've given authority for that to happen.
Yes. So
You volunteered.
we
Yeah.
have volunteered to
Okay.
put ourselves down.
Okay, anybody else?
I can if you need more.
Moving up. Yeah.
You will need to go to the bank to prove who you are.
Yeah.
So we do it tomorrow or the day after.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Tomorrow
Okay.
is better. Just so you know.
Okay.
Don't all have to go together, but
I'm allowed to go
Can't
See, this is where climate change and COVID-19 clash. You can't carpool.
Right, events on parks.
Just very briefly, do I need any information about what to do and where to go and what it is?
I'll sort it out with you.
So events on parks. I think you're referring to
Circus, that's
Circus, fairs.
May 18th to the 20th, I think, 2020.
Yeah. So this is if we allow external bodies to book events on park.
You're creating then a gathering and it's a no. I'm sorry.
Okay. Cancelled until further notice.
Yeah.
Got a second that, sorry.
Yeah.
All those in favour? Yeah. We all agree.
Thanks. Events generally.
So town council events
All gone.
all gone.
We need to cancel them. I'm sorry, it's, we can't risk other people, so it's a shame.
I agree. Thank you. Councillor Hartley.
I agree, basically. I think we may have problems with Remembrance Sunday. The feeling is still strong that when it comes to Remembrance Sunday, that there should be something. Again, I think at this point in time, if it was me, I'd exclude Remembrance Sunday from the list of things that we're cancelling and wait and see what happens.
I think, in my opinion, that would be irresponsible, and it's. I think we should cancel all events until further notice. And I know it's unfortunate. I mean, we're just as heartfelt about Bands on the Square as others who are passionate about the remembrance are about that. You know.
Can I suggest we cancel all events and then review later on in the year to see how we get on? I mean, Remembrance Sundays in November, isn't it? So it's a long, quite a way away, so we don't know what might happen.
Plenty of time to review.
Yeah, so we maybe have a review in 6 months.
Or even shorter, depending on how it comes out.
Yeah. But for now, we have to assume that all events are cancelled.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Chris?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, this is the kind of event that will find its own level. That the organisers aren't going to say 500 people all turn up and huddle up while you sing or whatever, but there may be some kind of event with representation there. And as long as we are open to changing our mind or reviewing and allowing that before that happens, then I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah, well, again, I'm quite sure it will find its own level. The Archbishop of Canterbury has decreed that there will be no more conventional church services, although the officiators will continue to perform their offices as normal, but there will be no formal Sunday church services for the foreseeable future. So it will find its own level.
So the proposal is to cancel all events in the foreseeable future and reassess closer to the times.
Yeah.
Reviewing, so cancel events until further notice, review 6 months or short trip necessary.
No, I don't think we need to.
I think you just full stop but further notice.
Yeah.
Review as times change.
Yeah. We'll review it at the next town council meeting, surely.
No problem.
Okay, all those in favour? It's unanimous.
Support to local people.
Councillor Whip.
Thank you, Chairman. And I think this is the most important item on the agenda, and it's a suggestion that as a town council we do what we can to support vulnerable people in our community, and exactly how we can do that I'm not clear on, but there will be people who are isolated and unable to access services and facilities, get the shopping, feed the pets, all that sort of stuff. And there's a lot of people who are volunteering the services, wanting to assist where they can. So I think, Chairman, we're in a position where we can provide support for people. I mean, we've just taken the decision to cancel our events, so we've got a pot of money which it's not going to be used for its intended purpose. I think there may be some residual costs with events, you know, in the case of any obligations that we might have for, you know, cancelled equipment or whatever. Not sure that that's going to amount to very much. And there's also the possibility that we may be able to reinstate events towards the end of the financial year. So I don't think we could sort of just say, right, well, we'll take all that money and we'll put it into a fund to provide community support. But I think we could move the majority of that money to do that. And I think Joe might be able to remind us what we've got in the events pot. And I was thinking that we could establish a fund with £30,000 in it.
We've got to take into consideration the box bar is in as an income figure.
Yeah.
But obviously it's not in as a greater expense, so your events budget, you're going to have to offset the fact that we're not going to have a box bar. mindful of that.
Yeah,
We're
so
talking more 20 or 25.
25.
Still extraordinary to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, the purposes that could be put to is if we can buy essential supplies and have them available for distribution to people, or perhaps supporting a local food bank, because they're struggling to get supplies
And donations as well.
people. Yeah, yeah. So, but you know, this isn't. You know, I haven't got a template of what we should do. It's sort of thinking on his feet, really.
A thought that occurred to me was a lot of restaurants are closing for the time being. They've got cooks. If we wanted to set up food distribution, we can cook from hiring chefs.
Like Meals on Wheels.
Meals on Wheels. Chris?
Also, briefly to pick up on what you said, David, about looking after animals. There is already a charity in place that does this sort of thing. My wife's involved in it, so if we get any needs in that direction, I can pass the message on to the Cinnamon Trust.
So the proposal is to wire the 20 to 25,000 into an emergency pot, not buy it.
Instead of wire, it's fire.
Buy it, yes. Yeah.
It's been a long day, Tom.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
What we do with that money is to be decided, I suppose. Back of a postcard.
Ideas, yeah.
I think probably when we hear of specific problems, then it will just be a case of everybody getting our heads together
Finding a solution.
electronically and seeing what we can do or whatever. So yes, you're right, if we just keep it open as of now and just make it something to chat about.
There's a local Facebook group that's looking at providing support, and they wanted some like leaflets printing out. I just said to just email me and let me know when you want. We've set up the gigantic printer in there that can just black and white, so it can be done fairly quickly and relatively cheaply. So just things like that could be an idea.
And can we put out, I presume it's taken as read that we put out the word to relevant organisations, etc., that we are available, or funds are available.
That's the work.
Chairman, if we're looking about ad hoc voluntary groups, there needs to be an element of safeguarding in there. I mean, I'm not saying that there's very many unscrupulous people about, but there's enough unscrupulous people about that we have to be on as guard against
In fact,
them exploiting vulnerable people.
I have already spotted an article today on someone who has exploited someone through the outbreak. So
Yeah, so we can't just support any random organisation that says, oh, well, we'll do it. I mean, if they're a bona fide established charitable or recognised constituted group that has some credentials, then we're more comfortable. But I think we need to be, at the very least, ensuring that people have proper DBS checks. And I mean, we could fund those if people are saying, right, we want to help the town council distribute food to vulnerable people. We could carry out a DBS check. Or they to carry out, we fund their DBS check.
it's very, very simple to do an online DBS check and get the result back within 10 minutes. So something we can do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mm.
Is there any steps we can take to identify who we have in our community that is vulnerable and speak to them people about what they might need?
So, my thoughts on this, we use our printing services to make leaflets, and for anyone who comes forward and we DBS check them, we could put their contact details on a leaflet and have them deliver out to an area around where they live, so people can get in contact. There's no central place of contact information, so you're keeping people secure that way. You're not sharing details to Colin or and then those locally distributed people would have the contact information for vulnerable people in their area, and get help that way. And that's what I came up with. But it does require people to reach out, and unfortunately that might be through electronic means, or phones.
Yeah.
Well, snail mail, I suppose, is an option.
Yeah, I think it's very early days in this. We don't know what other levels of local government are going to be providing or doing. I think it's something that, having, if you like, set up a fund, we then walk before we can run, and discover ways how we can best use it as we go along, and as the life situation outside these doors develops. We don't know.
Perhaps the food bank will have some better ideas of who's going to need some support.
Absolutely.
Well, there are various organisations around that are very, very close to the local population, closer than we are, per se, as individuals. Who are available to give us guidance and advice, or maybe themselves are going to be in trouble, so we don't know yet. But I think, for purposes of tonight's meeting, having one established firm, knowing everything is on the table, apart from any illegal activity which is off the table.
There's all sorts of information held on vulnerable people by County Council, Pendle Council to some extent, but that information isn't in the public domain and it's protected. So, you can't sort of get the list of people who've got bus passes off the County Council, or the list of people who get assisted collections off the Pendle Council. We certainly can't do it. So I'm not just sure how we can draw that together, but I think in every street in Barnoldswick, I think there's an understanding of who on that street is someone that needs to be kept an eye on and supported, if we get into difficult times. So I think on a very local basis that you can manage it, and there might be some parts of town where the number of vulnerable people is very high, and the number of people who aren't able to assist is quite low. That might need some management, but by and large, on our street, I know who needed to look after, and I'm sure it's the same for all sorts of individuals across the town. So, it's tapping into that very local knowledge that isn't on a council database, and pulling the volunteers and the people in need together in very difficult circumstances. But if we set the fund up, we've got the ability, without any further decision making, to spend money on that activity, whatever that might be.
So, all those in favour of the fund, have we taken a vote on it?
No.
That's unanimous. So we have a way forward there. Is there anything else specifically we need to discuss?
I haven't got anything.
Invite anyone who's got an idea to come forward.
Well, it's just confirmation of action already taken. The decision was taken to close this building for public activities. I think we need to confirm that action. Just note it and get into the record and tell those people who are upstairs that the building is closed for their own protection.
Is it possible that this space might just be needed by someone for some emergency function at some point? I assume it would be.
Do you mean like meetings or?
No.
So like create a bigger food bank or something like that?
Yeah. Or whatever.
I was thinking we could get pallets up there and through that door.
Turn the heating off for us. Oh, good.
In taking that decision, I'm conscious of an organisation like CVS, which is going to be a very, very
Who's that?
useful council voluntary service.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know it was.
Going to be very, very useful in the coming days and weeks. And it is already a turning point for help for the general public. Don't they operate out of here?
No. That's why I'm looking at you like that.
Yeah.
Citizens advice do.
Well,
The council.
I'm putting that, if you like, in the same boat. Citizens advice as opposed to CVS. As part of this resolution, if we're going to close the building per se, then maybe we ought to be assisting
They cancel the booking for
public
close.
facing, those public facing organisations that do use this building to.
They cancelled the
Find
booking
out,
before we closed.
Yeah.
They cancelled it before we closed though.
Okay.
There's three of them that come, one of them has to, and is in a category that shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
Chairman, I think we just need to be conscious that all face-to-face contact is being closed down.
Should be avoided.
And so, people like Lancashire County Council, Pendle Council, face-to-face contact will be, virtually non-existent. So, with this meeting, we should not be having really, but we need to do it to put things in place. And so, we should not be facilitating any gatherings that are not absolutely essential. We've already made the decision, and it's just a case of underlining that really.
So we're noting that the decision was made to close this building until further notice. Everyone's happy
With
with that?
immediate effect?
Yesterday.
It's already happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people didn't take notice.
Perhaps
Yeah.
we ask for everybody's keys back.
I was considering having a second lock change.
In fact,
I'm not joking.
we should action that quickly, because if it is used as a store, we don't want people to have access to this building.
Yeah.
So change the locks. Unfortunately. Does anyone else have anything that comes to mind? No? Okay. With that, I'll conclude the business of this meeting. Thank you all for coming. hope you didn't catch anything from us here. There's been no questions on the chat. Whether that's good or not, I don't know. But our emails are on the website. If you do have any queries, don't hesitate to contact one of us. I'm sure we can help at a distance. I'll declare the meeting closed there. Thank you all for coming. See you at another time.
See you soon. I hope.